everyone. How are you guys doing?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys are doing well. Hi, Lynna.
Hi. You're looking
So,
awfully beautiful today. You're like glowing.
thank you. Working on it. um, Today, we're going to be talking about spiritual gifts. That's what everyone voted for on the poll, the majority of them. The votes were towards spiritual gifts, discovering your spiritual gifts, but not only will we be discussing discovering your spiritual gifts, we want to discuss the fact that everybody has different spiritual gifts. So we're going to expound upon as much as we can this show. If you have questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. We want to answer your questions. We're here to help. We're here to inform. So yeah, let's get started. So how do you want to jump in? Do we want to talk about the different spiritual gifts? Because there's so many of them. We have, of course, the psychic spiritual gifts. We have prophecy, clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant. We have, of course, the ability to manifest, which is also a spiritual gift, connecting with nature as a spiritual gift. I think the important thing that people need to realize when discovering their spiritual gifts is that not everyone is going to have the same spiritual gift.
Right, exactly. I do have a little short film if you want to watch that, and then we can kind of like work off of that and
That
see
works.
where it goes. See where it goes.
Yeah,
You guys are more than welcome to chime in at any time. Let us know what your thoughts during the film and whatever. All right, so let me see. Oops. Always doing something to lose the page. All right, here we go.
People with a spiritual gift are affected by these 10 strange things. Everyone is gifted and unique in their own different way. Everyone has something they do effortlessly that might look like an arduous task for others. Some gifts are not difficult to spot, while some take concentration and some level of focus to activate. Some people with spiritual gifts might not even know they have it because of the complexity in discovering it. Speaking of spiritual gifts, they are rarely found, and for this reason, those who have them seem to be very special and extraordinary. In this 21st century, technology and science are making it look like the concept of spiritual gifts are fading away. Many people in this disposition don't believe in spiritual gifts, all thanks to scientific and technological inventions which make it look like everything is drawn from scientific principles. When we talk about spiritual gifts, people's minds tend to go to the third world countries. People who believe in spiritual gifts believe individuals who possess it are from third world countries. People with spiritual gifts, though they feel special, sometimes these gifts can turn out to be like burdens to them when they don't know how to manage gifts. If you're someone who's open to the concept of spiritual gifts and spiritual awakening, this video might interest you. We're going to consider some of the strange things that usually affect people with a spiritual gift. But before moving on to this list, if you enjoy watching this video, please help to like and share this video, guys. Here are some strange things that affect spiritually gifted people. 1. They are an empath. This is a common attribute of people with spiritual gifts, the ability to sense and experience the feelings of people around them even without being told. People with spiritual gifts are always willing to help someone to get out of bad emotions or moods. Their ability doesn't just end up in sensing the problem. They even become restless when the problem is still there. Sometimes they even go out of their way to ensure that they help the person in a bad mood until they brighten up or feel better. 2. They strongly sense negative energy in the environment. People with spiritual gifts can detect negative energy in the room. They're just like radars that point out when something is not too okay in a given environment, even without having a conversation or even having any sign of frown by anybody in the room. They can still detect it when all is not just right. 3. You wake up during spiritual and sacred hours. Spiritually gifted individuals are usually having trouble sleeping within some hours that are considered to be spiritual. Most of these spiritual activities occur between 3 and 4 a.m. It is not just a bathroom break. Waking up within these hours of the day regularly means that there might be spirits that need to communicate with someone who can operate within their realm of frequency, and you are just within that realm. For this reason, you find it difficult sleeping within these hours of the day. 4. Their emotions often affect their spiritual environment. If you are spiritually gifted, you are always caught up in situations that require you to control your emotions due to its intensity. If not controlled, things around can get faulty when your motions go wrong. Sometimes, a strange phenomenon like an electrical gadget stops working, leaves of the tree wither, and so on. But when they are in a happy state or a good mood, things move smooth and fine. Maybe there's a connection between people with spiritual gifts and nature that makes nature respond to their mood. 5. Strangers regularly approach them. People with spiritual gifts often attract strangers who are quite wacky. These wacky people are not insane, but they are not too sound. Sometimes they need people who can put them through some things. When they want to meet people by random, they end up meeting people who have spiritual gifts. When these people need healing spiritually, mentally, or emotionally, they get to connect with people with a spiritual gift. 6. Even when there is no weather forecast, they can sense when there is a change in the weather. People who are gifted spiritually can tell when the weather or season is about to change without any weather forecast. It is possible probably because of the connection they have with nature. 7. They attract animals. Animals are spiritual beings. Their senses are way beyond that of humans, and they can also sense the emotions in humans. Animals can read when you intend to harm them, or when you want to show kindness. People with spiritual gifts always show tenderness towards animals, and they can sense it. That is why they feel safe and protected under people with spiritual gifts. 8. They often have time travel experiences. Have you ever been alone or even with people and then some events occur in your memory or run through your mind? Then after a while you see the same scenario? If yes, then you have a spiritual gift. Time travel is one of the many gifts possessed by spiritually gifted people. They see things happen in their imagination or mind before the events unfold physically. 9. You can create amazing worlds with your imagination power. People with spiritual gifts often like staying alone, which sometimes make them fail to develop good relationships with other people. The effect of this is that when they want to have some fun, they end up creating all that they want to see and feel with their imagination. For the fact that they have a special connection with nature, they can create endless sweet nature scenarios and goodies within their mind. Doing this serves as a great relief, and it makes them feel much better and even find the need for relating to other people as trivial. 10. You encounter insomnia and or nightmares. People who are gifted spiritually often have insomnia or nightmares. When they sleep at night, they are often disturbed by disgusting or horrible dreams that have special meanings. As one with a spiritual gift, these dreams come so that you can do something to avert it. Meanwhile, even when some people with these spiritual gifts aren't fully understood what the dreams mean, sometimes the dream comes as a warning or revelation ahead of danger. However, it is up to the individual to come up with ideas or actions to prevent the bad events from happening. Well, those are some strange things that affect spiritually gifted people. So what's your opinion about this? I hope you enjoyed watching this cool video, and if you have something on your mind, don't hesitate to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell to join our notification squad. Thanks for watching.
So what did you think? I thought with the time travel, that goes back to what we were talking about last week with the Akashic Records, is what I'm getting. I'm not really too big on H.G. Wells' Time Machine. I mean, it made for a good movie, but you know.
Well, I think that's a little bit different. I think the time travel, because with the Akashic Records, you're not really time traveling. You're going to all your records and you're seeing the past, present, future. So it's not really time travel. You're there in your present.
Well, remember how we talked about, like, we would go and we would see something and then it would happen later and be like deja vu.
Yeah. I think the time travel thing definitely resonates. What really resonates for me the most is waking up between the hours of 3 and 4 and the empathic abilities.
Oh,
a lot of people with psychic abilities have empathic abilities. A lot of people with psychic abilities.
Broken people. I call them broken people, but you know.
And a lot of people with psychic abilities as well have issues sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Big issues sleeping. Because they always have spirits trying to talk to them, or some form of an entity, you know, really wanting to get their attention. And it makes for long nights for some people, especially when they have the gifts where they can see them or they can hear them. And then that adds in fear because they haven't yet learned how to hone them.
Right.
Or at least control them. So that definitely resonates. I think every psychic person, though, has empathic abilities. Anyone with a psychic ability, I think, has an empathic ability.
Yeah, that was the first
So,
thing that he said is that, all spiritually gifted people are empaths.
but mm, but not all abilities are psychic. So some people don't have that empathic ability
Right.
because there may be spiritually gifted people who are narcissists.
But they can still feel, and that's part of being an empath is being able to feel what's going on around you, and even like I know people think that people down south are crazy because we can go outside and be like, it smells like rain. It's going to rain. And you
You
look
can
up,
definitely smell rain.
there's no clouds in the sky or anything. It's like, oh, yeah, it's going to rain.
I can
My,
smell
my
rain. I'm like,
back hurts. It's going to rain.
yeah. It's like, for me, rain smells like earthworms.
It
And I
smells
hate
like dust. Yeah.
smells like earthworms. And I'm like, ooh, it's going to rain because I feel the earthworms smell coming out. And
hmm
it's going to rain. I'm not even bothered by the rain. I'm more so bothered by the earthworm smell.
Yeah.
But I think some of the things he left out, with that is the stress that spiritual gifts can bring people, like the different types of stress.
hmm
How sometimes it can affect people's relationships. Sometimes it affects their work relationships. Sometimes it just affects them. They feel like they're kind of going crazy because
Well,
they have no idea what's happening.
if you think about, having nightmares, attracting broken people, that's a lot of stress. It really
It's a
is.
lot of
And being able, even being just, if someone was only an empath, just being able to feel all the shit that's going on around you, you know,
Mhm. Exactly. Sorry, I'm looking at my cat. She's kind of ready to call my bluff, and I'm like,
was
um,
now animals are attracted to gifted people.
they are. But I also understand that animals take on the personalities many a times, or have similar personalities to their person that they're
Or
with,
vice versa. It might
or
be vice
vice versa.
versa.
In my case, I think it was similar personalities. Sorry, Sophie, but she's definitely my familiar. So that, without a doubt,
I think
that's
that
what it's like.
Rochelle is asking, is one gift stronger than the other? I think that people do have gifts that they hone in more on, practice more. And so there are some gifts that are stronger because that person practices that gift more.
Well, but I also think some people have naturally stronger abilities than the other. Like, some people are naturally strong empaths and they have the psychic ability of clairvoyance, but they have to work on the clairvoyance just naturally because
Mm.
naturally their empathic gift is what's stronger. And some people are amazing clairvoyants, but when it comes to the empath part, that struggles.
Yeah. So yes, I would say yes. The answer is yes. One gift can be stronger than the other.
I'm like, oh, I can't see the chat because I'm on my phone. Give me a second. I have to go to a different screen. Apologies. Oh, poor Willow. She says animals love coming up to her, but she's terrified of them. Aww. And Angela says, I'm a psychic medium and empath. I can manifest quickly. I am all of the clairs. Likewise.
So when did you first discover you had gifts?
Well, I've told many people my story. The ability to see spirits runs in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being a little girl and I was like, I was in the church. And my grandma, of course, was in the church. And I walked into her living room and I was like, Dear God, if you love me like you say you love me, you'll never let me see a ghost because I'll die. I'll die of fright. And if you love me, you wouldn't want me to die of fright. And so I don't want to see any ghosts. And so for years, I saw no spirits. I was good. And then my friend George Wallace died. And he had come to me in a dream. Because my mom has the ability of prophecy through dreams as well.
Mm-hmm.
Came to me in a dream. And the minute I woke up and I kept trying to reach him, the third day when his family told me he had died, that's when my gifts went crazy. So I knew I had the gifts, but I locked them away, so I thought I was good.
Right.
But that's something that runs in my family. The dreams run in my family as well.
Mm-hmm.
The dreams are stronger with my mom than they are with me, but the mediumship and the ability to see spirits and talk to them and hear them and all that jazz is stronger with me than my mom.
Yeah. I used to talk to spirits, but the first thing that I remember was I had a dream, and it was a prophetic dream that we were going to move out of the house and my parents were going separate ways. At I was 4 years old, so I didn't really understand what was going on. But and it's weird because, well, I'm not exactly 4 anymore, but every few years I'll have that exact same dream again, and I don't know why. I have no idea why.
Well, maybe it's like, are you in good relations with both your parents?
I mean, I'm not in bad, but we're not like all. We don't get together for Sunday dinner.
So maybe there's something in that dream that you missed that you need to see. That's a message.
I don't know.
You can test it out. You can ask your guides, be like, hey, what's this message and why do I keep repeating this dream? If there's nothing there, then don't let me have it anymore.
He would just think I'm weird.
Your guides?
Oh, I thought you said ask your dad. I was like, why would I ask my dad? My dad would think I was weird.
No, I'm like, I don't think your guides would think you're weird. I mean, at this point,
They already know. They already know.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's got the guardian angel that's praying.
Oh, like, oh God, here she is again. The one that's just leaning over, like, why, God, why?
Yes, that one.
I think many of us realize we have spiritual gifts when we're young, but then we're scared. Like, I had weird dreams. I also would see spirits, and I'd be talking to them, and I'd be like,
Yeah, and it sounds like just you and me talking, right? That's the way it was for me. It's like your parent, and then somebody will knock on the door. Who are you talking to? My friend.
Yeah, you're like my friend. I'm playing, and they'd be like, oh my God. And now the spiritually gifted people, they're like, those aren't imaginary friends, and we don't know if we want our kids to have these imaginary friends because they're not really imaginary. I think my furthest memory of me actually talking to something was a mirror. And I was deathly afraid of mirrors until about, I want to say 5 years ago. There's like no mirror in my room, because I remember speaking to the mirror. And I was just like having this conversation, and it was a woman's voice, and we would speak every day before I went to school and after I went to school in the mirror. And then I learned mirrors were portals. And then I was like, ooh. And I remember also, even though my mother swears up and down that this piece of furniture did not exist, there was a piece of furniture in my room and it had the mirror. And then I told her, I was like, Mommy, I'm talking to the person in the mirror, blah, blah, blah. And then one day I came home and that furniture was not there anymore. It was just gone. And my mom was like, it was never there. I was like, Mommy, I know we had a piece of furniture with a mirror on it because I would talk to it. She's like, no, it wasn't there.
Wow.
Maybe it was your grandma's. But I think also when I walked past certain mirrors when I was younger, I would hear the voices and I would be talking to these voices in the different mirrors. And when I got older, I was like, oh, hell no. No mirrors in my house. No. Because then you start watching scary movies, right? Then you're like, definitely. Oh my God, for sure, no mirrors. But it wasn't until 5 or 6 years ago that I was comfortable with having a mirror in my house. A nice decorative mirror. I was okay with having it in my house outside of the bathroom. There was never a mirror in my bedroom. There has still never been a mirror in my bedroom.
Wow. There's no mirrors in my house either except for in the bathrooms.
It's just, there was not
one. Because they came with the house,
Yeah. I only bought one mirror ever outside of what came with the place that I was staying in. And I think also experiencing it when I got older and being in a house in Annandale, and I went to open the door because I heard my sister go downstairs. And I was like, oh, let me go see my sister. Tried to pull the door open and it wouldn't budge. And there was a mirror on the side there was a mirror connected to this door. And I kept trying to pull and it wouldn't open. And then finally I looked at the mirror and I was like, this isn't funny. Let me out. And then I turned the handle and I opened the door and I went downstairs. And I was like, this is, huh?
They were messing with you.
They were messing with me. And so I have not, ever since then, had a mirror in my room, even unwillingly, since that day. But I think we all realize we have spiritual gifts when we're young. Sometimes they blow up when we're older. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't even notice them till we're older because they just seem like it's normal.
Yeah. Look, how do you say it? Latika is asking, how can you activate your spiritual gifts?
Latikia Bush, how can you activate your spiritual gifts? Honestly, I'm like trying to get back to the thing. They're already usually activated. The thing that you have to learn how to do is to hone them.
Mm-hmm. And not shut them off.
And not shut them off.
A lot of people I feel like a lot of people get afraid because people are naturally afraid of what they don't know. And they're afraid of seeing spirits, or they're afraid of hearing voices, or, turn the nightlight on so you don't have bad dreams. And so they block their own gifts.
Mm-hmm. And I think some people, the one gift, and Tonya can attest, nobody wants to be an empath. No one. Because the only thing you hear about it is it's going to drain your energy. You're going to walk into a room. You're going to take on everybody's emotions. And that's the hardest thing to learn how to, be able to protect yourself from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually empathic people, you're correct. They have people who are in need of their gifts or their empathy or sympathy that come to them, or they have big bad assholes that are drawn to them. And they're like, we don't want it. We don't want to just let us have no empathy. But what a lot of people don't understand is, and it took me a while because I was in denial. If you have psychic gifts, if you're a reader, if you're a diviner, you have no choice but to be an empath.
Yeah.
Period. You have to be able to connect with people. And if you can't connect with people, then you're going to have a hard time connecting to their spirits, especially if you're trying to be a medium. Especially if you're trying to open up those divinatory gifts and hone them. You have to accept that as part of it, even though you may not want it. So your gifts are already there. Amplifying them and honing them is the part that you end up working with. That's my opinion, but what do you think?
Oh, I agree. But I think there's different levels to your gifts. Like with being an empath, for example, you can open yourself up when you're doing readings, but not leaving yourself wide open. Because I feel like people leave themselves wide open is asking for trouble. I'm not doing it. I'll flip a switch, and because I don't want to feel everything all the time. But that's me personally.
So I do it during a reading, and then I clear everything out after that reading. Sometimes you meet someone who is very overwhelming. I think for me, the only time that I have done a reading for someone where I was like, oh, hell to the no, was when the girl was like, I have a generational curse. And we all know that people come to us and they're like, our family's been cursed, blah, blah, blah. And then you find out, you're like, no, your family's not been cursed. There's some issues, but your family hasn't been cursed. No, her family was cursed, and you could see the curse, and you could see the being. And my whole body got cold. My head was being pressed. It was a whole different ball game. And I think it was the first time where I was like, ooh, I wish I was not feeling. I wish I was not.
Have you ever like with that, have you ever done a reading and it just like gets to you so much that you just have to shut off and just not do any more readings that day?
Only that one time with the girl who had the generational curse. But it's because that thing was like, there's nothing you can do to help her. You need to stop talking. I'm going to fuck you up if you keep talking.
Oh, yeah. It was like an entity was connected to their family?
Yeah, her whole family was really cursed, and you could see it. Like, the entity actually came and was behind her.
I see a light behind Tonya now.
Yeah, she does have a light behind her, her angelic self.
And a mirror.
Oh, and a mirror, which is what she has to reflect back any negative energy after. I'm like, I have no mirrors in my room.
I never sit up here, so I'm like, what are they talking about? But I see it now.
We were
So
talking
yeah.
about mirrors being portals and stuff, and
Oh.
And how the one gift that nobody seems to want is being an empath. And for years, Tanya was like, Shishi, you're an empath. I was like, no, I'm not. She's like, but Shishi. And I was like, no, I don't want it. She's like, no. I was like, that's it, not mine. Like, years.
Yeah. You were like, nah, that's not me. I don't do that. That's not, I'm dark. I'm dark. And I was like, okay, but you could be a dark empath. You could. And she is.
so
And I know
what when did you
exactly.
first discover that you had gifts?
Geez. Really early. Now, and I don't know, I was always sensitive. So I was that child that every little thing made me cry. You know, anytime somebody was going through something, I connected with their pain. And I come from a very unemotional family. So everybody was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, and I think they saw it as a weakness. So what I did was I tried to not be so sensitive, which is completely counterproductive when you're an empath because it just makes things so much more, to me, heavier. So I would say probably early on, I always thought I was adopted because I don't fit in with any of these people. They're just weird. You know, nobody in my family loves to hug, and I love to rub and run and hug up on people and love on them. And, you know, and I was a very, I want to say emotionally immature empath at a young age where it was like I just wanted to love and light and everything like that. So I hadn't found balance yet. But I would say when I really realized I had gifts was probably 15. I think a lot of times people see this when they go through puberty. Between 13, 14, and 15, it was just like not only was my body changing, but my vision. I could feel spirit. I could tell when somebody or something was in the room with me. I used to go in the bathroom and try to get dressed because I would have something in my room that was always there. And I remember not wanting to undress in my room because I could feel that there was a spirit in there and I thought they were being a creeper. So my mom would be like, why are you always going to the bathroom to get dressed? And of course, you know, I couldn't say anything. I didn't want to seem like I was crazy or whatever. And eventually it just started. I think I bought my first tarot deck at 16 and it kind of opened up a floodgate. So I would say as an empath, I knew early on, I knew something was really wrong with me. And I figured out that I was just sensitive. But for other paranormal things, I said that happened probably in my teens.
Oh, okay. You know, you said something that I've been thinking about, and I just watched this series on Netflix called Fate, the Winx Saga. And because I'm nothing like my family either. And I've often wondered, was I adopted? But after watching that series, now I wonder if I'm a changeling. But that might be a topic that we'll have to put on the poll. Because, I mean, you know, yeah, they can show a birth certificate. That's my mom and dad. But is it really my mom and dad, or was I switched? Because I'm nothing like my family.
Well, I look exactly like everybody in my family, so it wouldn't work for me.
You know, well, but I mean, if you're a changeling, you could change your appearance and look like the baby that died. Maybe the baby had a defect. Well, and on the show, the baby was born with a heart defect, and the day number 2, the heart defect was gone. It's because the fairy switched out the human baby with the fairy baby, and she grew up thinking she was human.
Yeah.
You see it a lot, though. You hear about stories like that in hospitals or with kids that are very sick. They used to call them walk-ins, where you would have, because you had some type of medical condition or something that was going to make this life challenging, you would have a walk-in spirit that would literally come in and your health would improve.
Oh, like
Because
what's the best?
yeah, so like it would be like the spirit made a decision that it was going to come in and give you its life force so that you could be healed, or you could literally, get healthier.
We have to do a live on that, because I actually have to say
Yeah.
I have not heard of that.
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah,
to. I'll put it on the poll, so y'all can leave comments to make sure you join the Facebook group. It's in the description of this video because we run a poll every week, and I don't list all the topics. The way I set it up, you can add your own topic if there's something you want to hear about that's not listed. So go ahead and add your topics and put it out there and let it be voted on. But yeah, I would definitely put changelings and walk. You said walk-in.
yeah, but I wonder if a changeling is basically a walk-in.
Well, with
Yeah,
the
well,
changeling, it's like the fairies come and they switch your baby
they
out
switch the babies.
with a fairy
Oh,
baby, and then they take your baby and take it to the Fey world.
But
but
usually the human baby has something wrong with it and it dies. Did you watch Outlander?
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah,
I didn't think that there was
Even on
always something
Outlander,
wrong with the
they
baby.
took the baby and put it out in the forest in the tree and then tried to call her a witch because she tried to save the baby. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
they were wanting the fairies to switch their babies.
Well, I mean, I
That's
thought that it wasn't always that the baby had a defect. I thought it was also sometimes the baby was born to a certain family, and the fairies were like, "That's where we need our baby to go."
It may be. I haven't heard that. I've always thought that the baby was sick. But I mean, we can do research. We'll run a poll and see how it is. But let's get back to our spiritual gifts because you know how we are. We get thrown way off.
I was gonna say, like, based off of Tanya's comment, a lot of people who do have spiritual gifts are very different from their family members. Like, I would have to say I'm the most emotional person in my family. I'd be like, I'm just mad, or I take things personal. I'm like, that's just stupid, whatever. But then at the same time, my gifts come. I'm answering another question, just so you know. Let me read the question. It said, can your gifts be generational, passed down from family members? Can they be passed on just because of your family line? My gifts are generational. They do come from my family line. I think most gifts do come from your family line, whether it's skip a generation or how it is. I think it does come from somewhere in your family line.
Yeah, that's ancestry. That's blood tie.
Mhm.
I mean, literally, when you're connecting with your blood, it is how the gifts are passed down. So that
I
would be
agree with that. Even though I'm the black sheep of my family, my gifts still come from them. And I think most people with spiritual gifts usually do end up being the black sheep of their family, unless their family is somewhat raised in the knowledge of the gifts and then just working with it like that.
I think when you have blood ties, and it literally could come from mother or father, or sometimes both sides of the family, you have parents that are very gifted. They just choose not to use it, or
Yeah.
either they find religion and they don't want to use their gifts. It's not that your family isn't, like when I look at my mom and my sister, they're very intuitive. My sister is very psychic, but she's not interested in doing anything like what I do. And my mom definitely doesn't want to do anything like I do. So I think they're very gifted in their own right, but they it's just like they want to keep it in the closet, or
Oh,
either they don't want to believe in it.
and not. I wanted to say too that especially like because we're all readers, and anybody can be a tarot reader. You can take a class and learn how to read cards. There's a difference between being a tarot reader and being a gifted tarot reader because anybody can read cards.
True. Well, I think honestly, if you are truly gifted, you can read anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can read, a piece of dirt on the ground. If you are connected with spirit, the cards are a focal point
Yeah,
for a lot of.
they're a tool, is what I call them.
Yeah, yeah, they help you zero in on your whatever your focus is. If it's the question, you're flipping the cards because you're connecting with the question, but the message that you get is coming from spirit. Now, there is a difference between, like you say, reading tarot bookwise versus reading tarot intuitively. You know, 72 cards in a tarot deck have a meaning. They have been passed down through centuries. You know, it's the same meaning. But there's always something new in a card that an intuitive person may pick up that has nothing to do with
Right.
the meaning of the card.
Right, exactly. No, we're not doing free readings today, Sabrina. Sorry. But you're more than welcome to stay.
I'm curious about what Willow was saying she would have bookadooed on herself for. She said she would have bookadooed on herself. But it
Oh,
doesn't say what.
we were talking about blocking off our gifts when she said that. You know how, like, you seeing spirits when you were little and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, hell no. So people block.
Yeah.
So I thought that that's what she meant. Was that she's bookadooed herself by, like, blocking certain things.
I thought she said she would have bookadooed herself if she like had to see something in the mirror or was talking to a mirror or something. I don't know, because the mirror messed me up for a long time.
I think the sad thing about it is that Hollywood, with the horror movies, gives people a really scary perception of what it is to be connected to spirit. I mean, for a lot of people, it's natural. You know, they grew up seeing spirits, you know, ancestors, grandparents, and to them, it's normal. These were playmates. But then you look at movies like The Exorcist or Poltergeist or, you know, any of these scary movies and Candyman, and people think, oh my God, if I'm in my bathroom and I'm like Candyman, 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 I'm going to get fucked up. And people literally get scared of the unknown because they think that there's going to be something dark and evil. And literally, I always tell people, if you're going to open your gift, start with your ancestors first, because these are the people that love you.
Oh, yeah.
It's your blood.
Somebody
But
was
some
asking
people-
that earlier, too, with how do you activate your gifts?
I was saying that they're already activated, that you have to just learn to hone them and grow them and work with them.
I feel the same way too. I think if you're open, you're open. Now, is there clarity that comes in as you mature? Of course. Things that didn't make sense to me at 20 because I didn't have that life experience make sense to me now in my intuitive vision, because I can see a little bit deeper than I could say maybe at 20, because maybe my expansion of what was out there was limited. As an older woman, now I'm like, okay, there's a lot of things out there that I don't know about. That's why we have this show, because now it's like, okay, I can be open-minded to werewolves and vampires and aliens and star seeds and things like that. We're limited by our perception when we start opening our gifts. If you only believe that you're going to go this far or see one thing, that's what you're going to see. If you open it up and you feel like that you can expand, you know, I remember one time meditating. And I started meditating a long time ago, and I saw the galaxy. Like, I was in my room and I saw like the universe. It was beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, I've never had gone that far in my meditation before. And it was because every time something felt uncomfortable to me, I would stop. So this particular time, I just kind of kept going and going, and it was amazing. The colors, the auras, the things that were coming through. And I realized with opening your gifts, the main issue that people have is fear. They're scared of what's on that other side, which is, you know, we're human. We don't want to open ourselves up to something that we think is going to be detrimental to us.
Yeah, so I feel like in order to activate your gifts, the very first thing you have to do is have an open mind.
Yeah. And I think you have to make peace with that there are some things in the universe that may challenge you, but the way I've always looked at it, the living has power over the dead. There is certain things that we can do to protect ourselves. There are certain barriers, like mirrors. I don't like them. What I do is, because I do feel like they're portals, I anoint them with holy water and I put a cross on the opposite side of the wall to hold in anything that is not up for me. But I think the major thing is, like you say, being open, you know, letting go of that fear that something is going to come through and, you know, grab you, you know. And you normally start with ancestor spirits that you know, your aunt, your mother, your father, your grandfather, depending on if you had a good relationship with them and they want to work with you. but it makes it easier to open those doors when you have somebody that you feel comfortable with walking beside you, a familiar spirit.
Not a lot of people work with their ancestors, because not all, spiritualities call for that. But I think, like, some people, you're right, they are scared of their gifts, and then they feel like, Hollywood has messed up a lot of people when it comes to their gifts. Okay, you want to be a psychic? Oh my God! Then now we have, you're going to tell people when they die. You're going to get your tarot cards read because you're going to tell somebody when, somebody's going to tell you when you die, or vice versa. But I think also a lot of people, when they start getting their spiritual gifts, because Hollywood, once again, it does the good and the bad, right? So we have the whole Exorcist, we have all
The
those
numbers
scares,
above the head.
and then we have Charmed, all these things. And they're like, oh, well, cool, we're just going to call on this spirit and that's going to help us. And you're like, okay, that's not the way you should go about it either. So a lot of it,
Yeah.
but I think when it comes to your gifts, the first thing that you should do is protection, right?
Mm-hmm.
What form of protection is going to work with you the best? Whether it be your ancestors, whether it be a talisman, whether it be like herbs, whatever it is, it's definitely going to have to be protection. Because once you decide that you're good with your spiritual gift, then you're automatically wide open. And there's sometimes where you're wide open when you don't even know you have a spiritual gift. We've seen children who are young. We've seen children who have spiritual gifts and they're wide open. They look like light bulbs in the spirit world.
Well, I know, what was it, about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I had clients that were dying, and their families were calling me to massage them until their transition. So that year, I think I had 4 people that died, and I was there for their last rites when they crossed over. And I remember going outside, and one of the people came out and she goes, "You're a death doula." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "You help people cross over. You help people transition because you're very natural with it. You feel very comfortable with it." That is not a gift that I prayed for, but it was a gift that opened. And for that year, that was what Spirit wanted me to do. Now, have I been doing that since? No. But I think the thing about it was that we don't always get to pick and choose which gifts open up. I do agree that you need the foundation and the protection, but I also feel like you need to be open. Not everybody's going to be a psychic medium. Not everybody's going to be a diviner. Some people are going to be intuitive healers. Some people are going to be death doulas. Some people are going to be, whatever Spirit has for you. Don't get locked in that this is what you're supposed to do and this is the only thing that you can do. Spirit is limitless. They can use you any way that they want to. Be open.
Does anybody got advice for this one?
Oh my God, I got my glasses on and I still can't see. You're gonna have to read it.
Okay, she's saying my son is afraid of the dark. He said it's always shadows in the dark. I don't know how to make him more comfortable or teach him how to deal with it.
Get him a nightlight. I'm 54 and I don't like the dark because there's things that sit on my bed. There's things that blow air on me, and I really don't want to see them.
Well,
I really don't. I'm cool. You spend the night at my house. You know that I have a spirit
you got
that in the bed with us.
Yeah, but I was saying, it's funny that you said that because before you came on, we were just talking about how you get your gift when you're younger, and a lot of people are afraid. And I made the comment that when kids see spirits, they'll be like, they block that gift off by putting a nightlight in their room.
Yeah. I prefer to do it because I just don't feel comfortable having to look at something that I may not want to look at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's just me.
I have to agree with that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm cool with it laying in the bed. I'm cool with it getting under the blankets. I'm cool with it snuggling. I just don't want to turn around and see something that is going to make me pee on myself.
Okay, well, I'm not okay with it getting in my bed. I'm not okay with it snuggling. I have had a spirit sit on me. I've had spirits shake me. I've had spirits touch. It's not fun. It is definitely not fun all the time, especially when you're dead tired and you want to go to sleep and you're either in somebody else's house or you're not in your safe space. So being a child and seeing that, I can imagine that's terrifying.
I mean, just an old conjure thing I would do is put a glass of water with an egg in it on the like end table beside his bed because that'll protect his head.
I would get
So
a
make
I
cat.
think
I would
I
get a
think
cat.
with children, if you make it a ritual of cleansing their room if you teach them early on to kind of walk through with you and pray over certain things, if you pray, if there's certain rituals like, okay, let's light this candle and take it around the room and cleanse the room first. If you show them that you're doing something proactive that actually shows that you're connected to their fear, it makes them more comfortable. You know, you may want to go ahead and research things, other people that are afraid of the dark, adults that still have that issue too, like me, because it's going to make your child feel a little bit more comfortable. There are a lot of parents force their kids to sleep in the dark when they know it gives them a ton of anxiety, and what happens to raise an adult with a ton of anxiety.
Well, you can
well,
also
yeah,
do a
if you
mojo
tell them,
bag.
yeah,
You
but
could do, huh?
you can do the mojo bag, but like with the glass of water with the egg. Also, a mojo bag, a protection mojo bag, you can put under the bed, or they can sleep with it under their pillow, or even a bowl of salt with an egg on top. Slide that under their bed, but let them know what it is,
Include them,
what it's
include
for.
them in the ritual.
If they know they have that protection, then that in itself will also help them
I
not to feel
cleanse
anxious and stuff.
I cleansed the house where the little girl had Archangel Michael, a figurine and a little nightlight that shined on him, and it made his wings get really big in the room. Now, to me, I don't know if I would have liked that as a child, but her mom told her that Archangel Michael is a badass angel. He kicks, bad spirits. And so the little girl feels comfortable working with Archangel Michael at a young age because she calls him her protector. You may have to introduce your child to, angels or things like that, where he or she can understand that, they're not alone.
Yeah.
That
So
when
I'm
that
gonna be.
goes off, they're not by themselves.
I'm gonna tell you, I have always had cats in the house. I grew up with cats, and
Yeah.
now that I'm older, I would tell you get a cat. The reason being is because cats naturally take away negative energy. They keep spirits away, and they protect you at night. And they will sleep. If there's things that try to mess with you at night, especially with your head, if you have those gifts, your cat will sleep by your head to block out those things. And I have two. I have one that sleeps by my foot and one that sleeps by my head. My cats sleep very close to me. Now, that would be to me, because I am a cat lover, the simplest. Because understanding that they are protector spirits of the other realm to protect you from those negative spirits, I'd be like, get a cat. It's simpler. But
Yeah.
if not, then get a mojo bag. I think for me, if my mom were to tell me I had something like the egg under the bed or whatever to keep away the spirits, it would probably scare me more, because then I would feel like I would always consistently have to have the egg. Or if something happened to the egg, I would be panicked. Or you can put something, over on the wall and make it look decorative. You can do so many things if you need to do that. Or you prefer to do that, you can do so many things that seem less invasive. Like they probably won't know that's what it's there for.
But I think I would tell them that it's there to protect them.
I think
And
it depends on
the
how
egg,
sensitive the child is.
if the egg breaks, just replace it and let them help you.
I think it
Because
depends on how sensitive the child is.
It depends on the child. I agree with Shishi. It depends on the child. For some, they might be cool with it. For others, it may freak them out more. I think the best thing as a parent is that when you realize that your kids are gifted because you're gifted, the earlier that you start to talk to them about their gifts, the more comfortable that they are.
But
It's
you
really
can
easy to get
But you can
afraid
also
of
put,
something you don't know.
You can
You
make
also
it
put,
a teaching and learning session as well, you know.
but I think
Yeah.
like for me, having been younger, depending on what he was seeing, because we have to remember, not all spirits look the same, not all spirits are the same. It would scare the bejesus out of me, depending on what he was seeing. So first you have to ask him, what is it that he sees, and what are these shadow spirits that he sees, and then go from
Well,
there. How do they make him feel? Because not all shadow spirits look like shadows. It could just be spirits moving in the shadows, and he sees the outline of them, which
Yeah,
be
that's
actual
it's out
ghosts.
the medium.
you wouldn't want to get. I Tanya has a cat spirit that visits her at night. So if it's a cat spirit that's freaking him out, you might not want to get cats. You remember that when you woke up and you were like petting the cat and there was no cat and Voodoo wasn't in
Yeah.
there?
Well, voodoo plays with it. So I mean, definitely, I know it's there. I know there's also a male in my room too. I know that they're there. But for a child that is not used to it, like when Tori comes to spend the night in my room, we talk about, activity. But I started her young,
Mm-hmm.
so she's okay with my world. She's okay. When she was in fourth grade, the teacher asked her, "What is your teacher doing?" She goes, "Oh, she talks to spirits," because she's okay with my world. So I think the younger that you start a child with, making it seem normal, it's not as scary. But like she said, it depends on the child, their
Mm-hmm.
anxiety level. Kids are a little bit different nowadays. We have a little bit more sensitivity.
And what they're seeing, you have to remember, once again, they're watching TV. There are things that are on TV now that I wasn't thinking about. I was watching Genie and Sailor Moon.
Right?
I
Yeah,
wasn't worried about Charmed and if I was gonna marry the dark whatever that guy was. And I mean, but once again, spirits don't look the
okay,
same.
girl. I'll let me mute. All right, you guys. So I got to move to my room.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I think it depends, but I think, it would be great if you could, yes, of course, talk to him about it if he was okay. But depending on how scared he is, you might have to go about it a different way. I mean, I had one woman bring her son in for me to block his third eye because she felt like he was going through the whole insidious factor and there were spirits coming in due to her son that were scaring everybody else in the family. So a lot of it depends. The way my cats are going right now, you might be able to take one of my cats because they're acting a hot mess. I might just be able to ship them on over there to you. They're being
Girl, I'm getting a litter robot. I swear I'm getting a litter robot.
But it's just, I mean, honestly, me being young and my family is from the country. They're from North Carolina, different parts. They would sit us down at the kitchen table and tell us the ghost stories. Tell us all the ghosts he had seen, and then be like, "Go to bed." Who wants to go to bed after that? Nobody. Nobody. We all want to sit with you. So if you're a scaredy ass adult, we're gonna be a scaredy ass kid with your scaredy ass adult self. But they would send us to bed. So I know for me, that made me say, I don't want to see a ghost, because they would tell me about the time they would be pedaling home on their bike and the ghost was sitting on their bike with them, or opening their eyes and it was looking. I mean, it's
They're
there's
doing that
things.
stuff on purpose just to freak you out.
No, but it happened. It happened. It happened, and they will tell you. My aunts and my uncles, and I mean my cousins, they had no reason to be scared of it, but they're like, this is kind of what it is. But they were teaching us, they were telling us this because you have to respect the dead. Like my family was like, my mom was like, do not, yeah, someone's gonna take one of my cats. Don't go to the graveyard and make jokes at the gravestones, things like that. And one of my cousins did that. And they were like, and a spirit jumped out and ran him out the graveyard. And there's like 7 of them that can tell you the spirit looked like this and ran his ass out the graveyard because he thought it was funny. So
I,
I feel like they were.
I would have liked to see it too. That's why I laughed. Sorry.
I mean, my mom said he was running for his life. She said his feet were touching his butt. She had never seen him move so fast. But they were like, they were telling us these things because they're like, you don't do this and you don't do that because it's disrespectful to the dead. You just
Yeah.
don't do those things. And so, but then at the same time, it scared the crap out of me when I was younger. But now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, now we got some dead people here, blah, 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 blah. And now my mom's like, you're not, you know, I don't think you should use your gifts that way. Too late. I already did that. I think it depends on your child. And I think it depends on how normal it is in your household as well. If it's not something that you particularly deal with, then you yourself may be a little scared. I mean, like, my mom wasn't talking to anything in the mirror. Scared the crap out of her. The furniture's gone.
Right.
So everybody has a different way of dealing with it, but I think it really depends on the sensitivity of the child. So, and some people, the parents, it freaks out. I mean, when she brought her little boy in, she was like, close his third eye until he's ready to use it. That was a weird request, but I did it because it was scaring everybody in the house. And he didn't know what to do with it. He's like, they just come in and I let them in the house. I'm like, and then try to explain to him, you can't just let them in the house. That's not how this works.
Right.
So, but he was little. He was like,
that the dead doesn't bother her. It's the living that bothers her more. Yeah, because there's a lot of fucked up people in the world.
Tons of fucked up people. Let me see. I'm looking for the Shade Ruby Cup. My Gigi is from North Carolina too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all talking about cats.
I mean, I'm about my cats. I would take a cat over a dog because I feel like, you know, the dog would be great for loyalty and be happy to see you. But when it comes to I need to sleep, I'm taking my cat any day. If I need to sleep,
dogs are sensitive to spirit too. I mean, Yoda was very protective. He would always let me know when something was around.
But you can't have an inside dog like you can have an inside cat.
Yeah, you can.
You have to take the dog out and stuff.
Yeah, at least 3 times a day, or a minimum of twice a day. But open the back door and let them go run out in the yard. They do their thing and they come back in. And next time the lawn guy comes and mows, he picks it up. I mean, it's not a big deal. The dog lives in.
I think a lot of animals are sensitive to spirit. If you saw that that video that I posted with the raccoons outside eating, when I saw the orb, the raccoon looked at it first before I saw it. I saw him look to the side in the video, and it was because he picked up that the spirit was there before I did. So I think animals are naturally sensitive anyway. Some are, like she said, with cats, are just better at what is it?
Muting it.
I don't want to say, what is the word?
I feel when like if you need to sleep, they could just null it better.
Yeah, I guess null it would be the word.
But I mean, also, I like big dogs, and I'm not going to let my big dog sleep in the bed with me.
Oh, well then, yeah.
You know, so I look at it like that. Like, yeah, dogs may be sensitive, but at the same time, you know, I feel like both animals would look at it and be like, because there have been times where I've seen Sophie look out the room and she'd be staring, and I'm like, what are you staring at? Are you going to tell me something? And she just stares, and then still we're both out there staring at the room, like, and then you see something, I'm like,
that's how Yoda was. Yoda could always be spirit.
But dogs will bark at the spirit too.
Oh, they do.
To alert where a cat
absolutely.
Yeah.
That takes you to another gift too, because there's some people who can communicate with animals. That is one of their gifts.
I want to know, because I know there was a reader, and she was a reader of animals, and she would connect with the spirits of the animals that passed. I think she was someone that you knew, Tonya.
Could be. I know Jessica Pace does animal readings. And she connected with Yoda's spirit. Now I can connect with animals when they're alive and tell you, you know, they're not getting enough attention. They don't like the food, or, you know, they're going through some things. You can see that in tarot. You can definitely pick that up intuitively with a lot of animals too. But there are some people that really can strongly connect with them, especially on the other side.
I think that's
Jessica
amazing.
just did a reading about Yoda a few days ago.
I think that is amazing.
Yeah, it is. And those are some things the topics that you were talking about, and I wanted to bring that up too. You were talking about in the raccoon video how you would see the spirits on video. And when we
Oh
had
yeah.
that hurricane last week, I caught a couple of things on video too. So that might be a topic that we can talk about or put on the poll. Spirits and fairies or other, supernatural
Absolutely.
on video.
Yeah.
Or
Phenomenals. Yeah. There was a time when I lived right across from a cemetery, and I remember getting up one night to go use the bathroom, and
at 3 a.m.
I had a little who?
I said at 3 a.m.
Yeah, too much water. Too much water. You know how it is when you start getting older. But I remember going back to my room and seeing from the light from the bathroom all these orbs. It was like hundreds of them. And it just was creepy.
Well, didn't you saw
And it
some
was
in
because
the
of the
graveyard
cemetery.
in Mobile with the blue dress on? Was it a blue dress?
Yeah. Yeah. When Cometo saw the blue
And that was caught
what
on
was it? The blue
film.
aura.
Yeah, and that one
Mm-hmm.
was caught on film as well.
I think,
Oh, that reminds me of when you and Taylor went creeping through that hotel, and you're like, "Shh, what the hell was that?"
What did we use? We used a ghost box, and it was so weird because we were at the top of the stairs, and so we turned the ghost box on, and it goes, why did you come all the way up here to the top? And me and Taylor were like, oh, but it was talking. It was talking through the app. It was creepy, but it was fun. Makes you want to ghost hunt.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I want to go ghost hunting now. Before I understood my gifts and was, before I was honing them, all my friends, they were like, let's go ghost hunting. And I was like, no, because I would run. And they were like, why would you run? I was like, because, like, think about it. If you could see somebody and they were throwing something at you, aren't you going to run from the thing that you can see? And they were like, well, yeah. I was like, then why wouldn't you run from the thing that you can? I'm going to go. If it starts, I mean, like, why would you stay, right? And so finally, all my friends, I was like, when I was ready to go ghost hunting, they were like, no, we can't take you because we know you're going to run. And they're like, if they start throwing and getting crazy, we know you're going to run. I was like, I feel like that's a logical thing to do, though. Like, if it's malevolent, you got to run. I'm not going to stay. Try to calm it down. That's not me. Maybe another time. But I want to go ghost hunting now. But I think one of the places I would like to go ghost hunting is in Occoquan, because that's the first time, that I really recognized completely what my gift was, of psychic mediumship, and B, something followed me home. And that had a lot of activity, so I think that would be intriguing. The guy's mother's still there. The owner of the place, his mother still is there, and she takes baths. And you can hear her start the tub and everything. It's crazy.
Wow.
So I think that would be interesting.
I think a lot of people with really strong mediumship abilities end up with a lot of attachments. I mean, and that's just day to day. You don't even have to go to haunted places to pick up on these spirits. Sometimes if you do reading, you put a bowl of water, and after the end of your day, you just watch all the bubbles that are in that water, and those are entities, those are spirits. So a lot of people, if you realize that just doing 3 readings a day, you collect a lot of attachments. You open yourself up, your household, to a lot of attachments. Some of these spirits are not going to want to leave you. They like your energy.
Yeah, you have to cleanse yourself. You definitely have to cleanse yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt. And I think when it comes to spiritual gifts and everybody wanting their spiritual gifts, for some reason, it seems like that's the one that everybody wants.
The mediumship?
Psychic mediumship. We want that.
I don't want that one.
They're like, that's the one we want because, they see all the shows. It seems really cool. The girl walked into the building. She's like, this is what happened. They were murdered 45 years ago. They're like, we want that one, but they don't realize all that comes with it. It's not that you just get to see the spirits. Sometimes those spirits don't want to go home. And then you have to set boundaries and say, you can only talk to me between these hours, because if not, they'll be talking to you all night long. All day long.
Well, I think with any gift that you open up, there's responsibility with it. And I think people look at, like you say, the commercial aspect of it, of what they see on TV, or they see people making money off of it or whatever. Because a lot of people within the last, 3-4 years, everybody reads tarot now. Everybody does lives. Everybody has a booking page. And it's because tarot to them is lucrative, especially in a time when people don't know what's going on. But when you open that door, you're making connections with spirit. And like I said, there's a lot of responsibility that comes in with that. Sometimes tarot, there's a ton of YouTube readers that literally had mental breakdowns because they became overwhelmed with spirit.
Well, I think also any gift you have, you're right, it comes with a responsibility, especially if you are using that gift to help others. Like I'd say that, when you're a tarot reader, it comes with a lot of responsibility. You can't just be like, oh, this is happening, that's the end.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Because you affect a lot of people's lives with that, for sure. I think when you're doing a lot of energy healing as well, because you have people who are amazing energy healers. And energy healing can range from like healing the mind or just healing the body. Some people can do both. But when you're an energy healer, especially when you're working on someone's body, you have a great responsibility to, take care of yourself, because that energy that you're working with that person, it comes to you, and you're putting energy into that person as well sometimes. So anytime you have a gift,
absolutely,
it comes with a great responsibility. And I think a lot of people, you're right, 3-4 years ago, I can't remember when I stepped into it, doing the lives or reading for people professionally, like via Facebook. There was barely anybody there doing it. And now everybody and their niece and their aunt and uncle are doing it. It's oversaturated, but a lot of times it's oversaturated with people who aren't even really doing the gift. They're just doing it for the money.
When you read tarot and for other people, I think you also almost have to be a psychologist as well, because you have to. People who come to you for a reading most of the time are because they're going through some kind of issue, and so you need to not just read the cards and tell them sorry about your bad luck, but kind of help guide them through, give them different alternatives of things they can do. If they don't like the way it's going, maybe they could do this, or are you sure you want to do that? Or, kind of, you also have to be a psychologist and a guide and an advisor to these people, because like you said, you are responsible. You can't just say, look, you're gonna take him back, he's gonna cheat on you again, and you're still gonna take him back. That can't be the end of the story. You kind of have to counsel these people as well.
Well, like you say, the responsibility is there. I mean, and I think anytime that you start helping somebody navigate their life, especially when it comes to messages, because no reader is 100%. You literally can hear the message wrong. The timing could be off. And, there are people that in relationships, when you tell people that, oh, it's not going to work, they go home and they're like, I'm going to divorce you. But what about the kids? What about everything else? And some of these people I always tell people, don't let tarot think for you. It's a message.
Don't do
you
it.
have free will. You have the final decision. We can never present ourselves as the master authority, because we're not. We're just, we're messengers. And the message depends on if you hear it.
It can be changed.
Well, I think we as diviners, because we read more than tarot, let's be honest. Like, tarot's not the only thing I read. I read water, I read fire, I read the elements. So when we're reading for people, when you tell them something, you have to let them know, hey, maybe this is above my pay grade for sure. You might need therapy. Or this is a health issue. I'm not a doctor. You're going to want to go see your physician for that. And some people, they don't tell people that. And you have to be honest about that as well. You're like, this is what I see for you. But I would still go and get it checked out. Because when we're doing that, we have to remember there's the spiritual world, but we still have the mundane part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have to work with both of those things.
I also feel too that you have to be honest where your level is when you start to work with people. You can't buy a tarot deck and then start charging $300 for readings. You haven't allowed that gift to develop. It takes practice. I read tarot every day, and I have forever. Whether I pull for me, for my own personal gain, or for other people, you have to understand where you're at within your gift, and you have to be honest with people. If you are a healer and you cannot, heal this person, and you got to send them to the other person who can. If you're a reader and you don't have the answer, then you got to go ahead and send these people to whoever, is that next person. We can't force these books to open up quicker. And we can't, you can't half-ass this for people. If you're trying to be spiritually connected, you want to grow. You want to get stronger. But if you're trying to make money, that's a completely different thing.
I'm often shocked by, like, when I see people who have been doing this for years and I see their prices, and I see people who just got into it and I see their prices, I'm like, when did that happen?
Right.
Often very shocked by that. I mean, I met one girl and she charges $300 for an hour. And I was like, but what comes with that? She's like, oh, this. And maybe there might be, some other stuff. And I'm like,
I paid $500 for half an hour one time, and I got to tell you, it was probably the shittiest reading I've ever had. And this is a really well-known, famous person. I mean, even had a TV show after her and everything. And
well, you were paying for the hype. You weren't paying for the message. You were paying for the status and everything that went with the message. Because sometimes
she ain't never got a second booking from me.
I think some people, they go by the price. I think some people, they're like, oh, well, if this person's charging this much, they must be amazing. And then you have some people who are just really like, we're only going to pay $15, max, even though we know this person's amazing at reading.
Yeah.
I think,
well, it's the illusion of worth. If you charge people more, you must be, gifted with this. You have people that look for little things, and I think honestly people are drawn to who they're drawn to for a reason, because maybe there is something that they're going to get from that person. But I think there's a big difference, like I said, between being really connected to spirit and just doing something for the money. There are a ton of people in my inbox that get free readings because they need it. And do I have bills to pay? Of course I do. But sometimes as a healer, as a priestess, I know that I'm going to be called to do things that have no monetary value for me, because spirit is like, you have to do this. I do free Fridays because of that, because I want to give back. Spirit takes care of me all through the week with readings that keep me booked. So Friday is my time where it's like, look, this is my gift back to you. And I think you get the energy of a person when you're working with them. If somebody's just about the money, you pick up on it really quick.
I think,
and that's what it is with any type of gift or divination or anything like that. If you're going somewhere to get a cleanse and somebody's charging you $1,000 for a cleanse, like you have these scammers that come on and tell people you're cursed. Give me $4,000 and I'll take this curse off of you. If the energy doesn't match, if you're not really feeling that they're spiritually connected, I think intuitively a lot of people know, but they act out on fear.
I know. I had one lady, she came to me and she's like, oh my God, I got a reading. And I mean, she was one of my regulars. She's like, I was told I have a blood curse and that's why this is happening. I was like, I don't see a blood curse. But they said I had a blood curse. And I was like, and how much did they say they were going to charge you to remove this blood curse? $2,000.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when have you ever felt yet? I mean, what were the symptoms? What was all this? Well, they just said it happened here. And I was like, you have to sometimes think to yourself.
Yeah, but fear motivates people. Fear motivates people. If somebody tells you have a curse or your kids have a curse, people are going to go into their bank accounts because they're scared. Because the first thing that you hear is curse. That's a bad thing. It's going to destroy my life or destroy my family, so I got to pay for it. But these people know keywords to say. Normally, before you do any type of work, you're going to divine on it anyway. You should.
Yeah, you
But if
should.
everything's always dark and negative, then you got a scammer. And there are people who've been with scammers for 15 years that pay for these readings.
Yeah.
Christina, saying, what if a reader lied to you about a situation that never came true? How does that work? Will they get the karma?
So what do
Okay,
you
so
mean the
years
situation
ago,
that never came true? Because sorry.
no, you can go ahead. I was going to explain a situation that happened to me where the reading happened 8 years later. So it wasn't that reading wasn't true. It was that her timing was off. Now, like I said, no reader, no diviner is 100%. So you can hear the message wrong. But I will say that this woman told me that I was going to have a baby, and I was like, no, my tubes are tied. There's no freaking way I'm going to have a baby. Well, 6 years later, my sister got pregnant. She went through postpartum depression. She couldn't take care of her child. I had a baby. So it wasn't that the message was wrong or not true. The timing was off, and the way that the baby came was completely different.
But I will also say, going off of yes, no reader is 100%. It's just sometimes things happen, like Tanya said, but then also you have free will. It could be at that time that was what was happening. And
Had
then
you stayed on the same path you were on.
Yeah, then a decision was made, and that adjusted the path. And I have the story all the time where I tell, I had this client, and she was sober. She was doing great. Had a wonderful relationship. I said, as long as you still stay sober, as long as you are communicative like you're doing now and doing the work that you're doing, this person's going to marry you. He was set to marry her. She decided that one night she was going out with her girlfriends. She had a drink. It went too far. Then anger occurred. And all of a sudden, her relationship wasn't there anymore. And she's like, yeah, but this is blah, 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 blah. She was mad at me. She blamed me. And I said, but this is the decision you made. She's like, he wasn't going to marry me. She went to the house. She had opened a drawer, and there was the ring that he was going to propose to her with. But she made a different decision that caused her engagement not to occur.
I think too, and that's valid, because people, especially when it comes to relationship readings, it's not only your free will, but also the other person's free will. Anything could change in that person's day that makes them shift. I mean, nothing is set in stone. Actually, energy shifts, it moves. You know, there are destiny things, but when it comes to certain relationships, it's very fluid. There's free will on your end and free will on his other end. Like she said, the guy was going to marry her. She made the wrong decision.
I agree with Angela too about some people are in denial. I've had people that come to me, and I don't understand why they're even getting a reading if they already know all the answers, and they'll try to argue and say you're wrong, and
well, they're desperate. They want to hear it that way. We've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been in a situation or a relationship where we want to hear that this person is going to come back, or this money is going to be there, or my marriage is going to be saved. That's why people get readings, because they want to hear the positive aspect of it. Are they in denial? Have we been in denial? Have I been in denial? Yes. Because you want to hear something to go your way. The message may not be that, though.
You still in denial about that older man.
What older man?
I told you 4 years ago.
And that he's white.
What? He old and a snow bunny? Oh, hell fucking no.
See, you in denial.
I ain't going out like that. I am not. And if I go out like that, I'm going to take both of y'all out to dinner. But at this point, I ain't going out like that.
Okay, first off, I mean,
All right.
he did it. She married a millionaire. You gotta listen. Wasn't it you saying you have to be fluid and open?
All right. Because this is being taped, I may eat crow, But as of right now, I have very much control of free will. And this is where free will comes in.
I
An
didn't
old,
say he was gonna be white. I just said he's gonna be old. Because you remember when we were looking at my tarot
how
deck
old
that
are we talking? I'm 54. Like, what the fuck? Is he 80?
girl older could just be 6 months older, but he's gonna be older than you. Remember when we were in the car coming back from Starbucks looking through the Salvador Dali deck and it
Mm-hmm.
came out and I told you you're gonna marry an older man.
Well, I might marry a woman. So free will.
That's
But
not
he's gonna be
happening.
older.
We all know you.
Telling you they're gonna be older.
So she's gonna be an older snow bunny woman. I can win for
I
losing.
didn't say she's
You're
white.
not
I
marrying a
just
woman,
said older.
Tonya.
She said they're white.
I'm
But
just
spirits
telling
don't
you.
have no color. You gotta remember that. When people die and their spirit leaves their body, we don't see a color. There is no color.
You know, I don't want them to be pale. They got to have a tan.
I'm pale and you love me.
I mean, yeah, but you're a little fluorescent too, though. You need a little sun. I'm just not down with the fluorescent look. I need a little color. That's all I'm asking. So if they can tan, then that's a thumbs up.
Okay, that's funny. But but once again, it is free will. So let's say she does have that older man. Even though I'm like my view of free will has changed, but you know, Tanya can use her apparent free will if she meets an older man who so happens to be of a fluorescent nature, and she's like, "No, I'm not doing it." Then she can say, "No, she can't do it," and then that might be the billionaire that she was wanting, and then there it goes.
Well, then he can afford to buy a tanning bed.
Look, as
No.
long as it's a tinted bed and not an orange spray tan, we'd be all right.
Exactly. No orange. No orange. So if he can buy a tanning bed, we good. I'm open. I'll be open.
Oh my god! But I think
All right.
But the point is like going back to like what the topic is supposed to be before we head out here, as I have got to go to bed, guys. Sorry.
All right. Well, y'all
I
write
think
in the comments or let us know what y'all want to talk about. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Shishi.
I was gonna say when it comes to your gifts, you already have them. Be open. Listen to yourself. Try not to be afraid of them. And if you need help, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to someone to get assistance in helping to hone your gift. I think a lot of people feel like they have to do it alone, and you don't. It's not something that you have to do alone. So you can reach out to people and say, especially a person that you trust, and say, hey, I'm having this, and they can say, hey, this is a gift. This is what you're experiencing. This is what you have to go about to do, doing to hone it, protect yourself, and to really start using it. What I can say is any gift that you have, please use it responsibly. If you're an empath, don't use your gift to take advantage of people. Once again, just don't use your gift to take advantage of people. You wouldn't want it done to you, so don't do it to others. That's my really big thing. If it's something you wouldn't want done to you, don't do it to others.
Golden rule.
And it kind of goes back to the lady that was asking if there's a karma attached to it. If you're using certain deities to help you with these readings and you're lying and you're not being honest about it, you will have problems with these spirits. I've seen some people that spirit stops working with them because you're not passing the message truthfully. So why would they want you to be the messenger? So that's where trust comes in and being ethical. If you're going to do this and you're going to help people with it, you really need to be ethical because you're calling on not only your spirits, but the spirits that walk with them. And a lot of these people are protected. Their spirits are not going to let you misuse them or mistreat them. You will get some blowback on that. So you got to be really careful. Be ethical with your spiritual journey, you guys.
And if you decide to be unethical, just make sure you can transmute energy. It's pretty much what it comes down to, especially if you're working with entities and spirits. I mean, there are some entities, they carry a price. So be careful with how you do it. Just, be smart with it. But then also,
All right, you guys. My clients are here, so I got to sign off. But I love you guys.
Right. Talk to you guys later. Love you.
have a great night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.